Hey guys, it's me. It's day number 2 and pregnancy vlog number 2. It's 4:05 in the afternoon, and today Eddie has been very fussy, so I have not even brushed my teeth yet today. I threw on some jeans because my sister was coming over earlier, and I even fell asleep last night with all my makeup on, so I have these lovely under eye circles. One, from being tired and exhausted, and two, from leftover makeup. So just excuse my appearance. I'm going to be going grocery shopping after my husband gets home tonight, so I wouldn't be able to do this video tonight. So let me just start right back with our story. Zofran they gave me, it worked for exactly 1 week, and after that I started getting really sick again, and even worse than before. The doctors had me trying all sorts of different kinds of medicines to get better, and then told me if I hadn't eaten anything for more than, oh gosh, I can't remember how many hours, I think 12 hours, then I needed to go to the emergency room. And that happened on May 4th. It was like 10:30 at night, and I was taking a bath trying to relax and feel better, and I had to call my husband up there because I just didn't feel right. I felt really sick, and something felt wrong and couldn't pinpoint it. So he took me to the ER, and I was definitely dehydrated. I'm not keeping anything down. So they hooked me up to IV fluids, and we were there for quite a few hours. They gave me Zofran in my IV. That didn't work, of course, because Zofran didn't work for me at home either. But the fluids, they kind of helped me for like a good few hours and gave me a night's rest anyways. The next day I called my OB's office and told them that I had gone to the ER, and they told me that enough was enough. I wasn't getting any nourishment. I was going to be living at the ER if we didn't do something quickly, and they weren't really willing to risk my health or the baby's anymore. So we were in the process of setting up home IV therapy, where a nurse was going to come to my house every single day. They were going to leave an open IV port in my arm, and a lady was, or a guy I guess, was going to come here every day and hook me up to fluids until I got better. And I really wasn't looking forward to that. I have dogs that bark all the time. My house was messy from being so sick, and I just didn't want to deal with that. So 4th I was at ER, the 5th they told me we're going to set up IV fluid, and then the 6th I had to go back to the ER again for the same thing. They gave me IV fluids, but this time the doctor there, who I liked a lot, gave me Zofran and a med called Phenergan. And I had tried Phenergan before, but only by itself, and this time he gave me both at the same time and said, this might just be your little concoction that works for you. So gave it to me, and while we were there I actually felt hungry after a while, and I asked if I could have some crackers and juice or something, and they gave it to me, apple juice and saltines, and it tasted so good to me. That was the first time food had actually tasted good in over a month. And I didn't throw it up. Gave me a prescription for those 2 meds again, and I went and bought it, and at the same time I bought a whole box of saltine crackers and a big jug of apple juice. I ate a ton of that stuff that evening. I was starving. I mean, I hadn't eaten in a month straight, it seemed. So ate that, and then we also went to McDonald's, and I got some chicken nuggets, and I hate McDonald's, but I loved those chicken nuggets that night. And that really was the end of my, my sickness, my morning sickness. It was pretty awesome. I was done being sick, and for the next couple weeks to the month I was just gaining my strength back. Altogether I had lost 16 pounds from before I was pregnant, so yeah, I was down from 180 to I can't add apparently. Whatever 180 is minus 16. So, we're good on time still. What's next on my list? La la la. I do that every time, don't I? La la la. Okay, next page. Good. Okay, at the end of May I had that sequential screen where they check for Down syndrome and a bunch of other things that I'm not aware of, and also got my very first real ultrasound, and that was a ton of fun. Baby looked so cute, and they said he was, well, at that point I didn't know it was a boy, but he was like 3 inches long, and it was just really cute. Good pictures. The screen came back normal. Didn't appear that there would be any problems with the baby. July 16th is when we found out that we were having a boy. That was exciting. I kind of knew the whole time that it was a boy. Just had a feeling, intuition, I guess. And that was another good ultrasound. In July and August, I started finally getting a belly. The whole time I hadn't been showing it all. I'm really tall, like I said, so it took forever for me to get a belly. At week 28, which was like I think the end of August, I had to go and get that glucose tolerance test where we have to drink that really sugary drink, and I failed it. I was really surprised. The nurse called me as I was eating ice cream of all things and told me, "Oh, you failed your test, you're positive for gestational diabetes." And usually if you fail the first 2-hour test that everyone gets, they give you a 4-hour test just to make sure. But they weren't going to do that with me because apparently my numbers were high enough just to say you've got it. But I opted to do it anyways because if I was going to be unsure for the rest of the pregnancy, it would be a lot easier for me to slip up and start eating sugary foods and stuff like that. So I needed to know 100%. I just stuttered. So I took the 4-hour test, which meant I had to go to the lab early in the morning. They had to do a fasting draw, then at 1 hour, 2 hours, then 3 hours, I believe. I failed that one as well, so I did have gestational diabetes through the rest of my pregnancy. A couple more minutes on here, I think. So I went and saw a nutritionist, and they taught me how to eat the correct foods, the right proteins with the carbs, and no sugar and all that good stuff. I also went to another place and met with some more educators to teach me about more of the medical side and how it could affect the baby and myself. Let me know that I'm at a higher risk for having type 2 diabetes as I get older. Gave me my meter so I could check my blood levels, which I had to do 5 times a day, and I also had to log all the food that I ate. And I had to exercise, go walking to 20-30 minutes a day. Okay, I keep looking at the clock. That's what I'm doing over here. At my appointment, like a week or 2 later after all that initial stuff, looking at my numbers and seeing that I was eating the right food and exercising, they said I needed to have insulin or medications called glyburide to lower my numbers. Glyburide does work its way to the baby. They don't have, it apparently doesn't affect the baby, but there hasn't been a lot of studies done on it, so I wasn't willing to risk that. So I opted for insulin, which means I had to have insulin actually injections every day. At first my husband was able to give it to me, the shot, because I only needed it before dinner time and he was home for that. But eventually I had to do it myself, which was scary because I had to also have it before lunch. We just couldn't control my numbers for some reason. Okay, I should probably go. I don't want to go over on time and waste this entire video, so I will be back. Bye.